the shadow of annihilation, when the mortal realms were nothing more than playthings of the Chaos Gods, hope seemed dead. The Age of Chaos had scoured civilization from the realms. Blood, pestilence, mutation, and excess ran rampant, each realm twisted into a nightmare by Khorne, Nurgle, Tzeentch, and Slaanesh. The skies bled crimson, demons stalked the land freely, and humanity and its allies either cowered, fled, or died. For centuries, the tide of chaos seemed unstoppable. But Sigmar, the god king of Azir, had not been idle. Locked away in the celestial heights of Azirheim, Sigmar forged a plan. He gathered the souls of fallen heroes, those brave enough to resist the madness, and reforged them into the storm-cast Eternals, armored demigods wreathed in thunder and lightning. Clad in gleaming Sigmarite and blessed by storm, they were created not merely to fight, but to reclaim. They trained, prayed, and waited for the divine signal. And thus, when the first storm broke, it was like the voice of the heavens cried out against chaos. Lightning rained across the mortal realms. In every corner of the corrupted lands, celestial strikes heralded the arrival of the Stormcast. From the icy peaks of Shyish to the molten fields of Ekshi, from the glass deserts of Shaman to the overgrown ruins of Gairan, the Age of Chaos began to falter. The Age of Sigmar had begun. The thunder of war echoed once more across the realms, not as a final gasp of resistance, but as the drumbeat of an organized and divine retaliation. This is the first part of our series about the Realmgate Wars, a saga of divine vengeance, shattered realms, and an unyielding struggle between order and chaos. Join us as we dive into the epic battles, legendary heroes, and world-shaping events that ignited a new age. The Age of Sigmar. In the beginning, there was only the void, cold, silent, empty. Then came the light. Etheric winds surged across creation, and from this primal storm were born the mortal realms. 8 great domains, each bound to a different magical wind. From Ekshi, the realm of fire, to Shyish, the realm of death. These were not mere lands, but entire worlds, vast and diverse, teeming with life and possibility. The god Sigmar, reborn from the world that was, fell from the stars, clutching the core of a ruined world. He was discovered by Dracothion, the celestial drake, who showed him the way to the realms. There, Sigmar began his great crusade, awakening the other gods, forging alliances, and bringing order to chaos. This era of hope and unity was called the Age of Myth. Civilizations flourished, empires rose, gods walked amongst mortals. Sigmar's pantheon, a council of divine beings including Alariel, Tyrion, Teclis, Gorkamorka, and Nagash, brought structure to the realms. But even in this golden age, shadows stirred. The forces of chaos, entities born from mortal emotion and spiritual resonance, were not blind to the glory of the mortal realms. The gods of chaos, ancient and insatiable, peered through the veil of reality and saw fertile lands ripe for conquest. Khorne, the blood god, Nurgle, the lord of decay, Tzeentch, the architect of fate, Slaanesh, the dark prince of excess, and lurking deeper still, the great horned rat. Where mortals strayed, chaos followed. And as civilizations grew, so too did ambition, envy, pride, and despair. These emotions birthed cults and corrupted kings. Secret rituals were held in moonlit temples. Whole cities disappeared overnight. Demons flickered at the edges of dreams. The pantheon was slow to react. Sigmar, ever vigilant, sought unity. Nagash brooded in Shyish, plotting his own ascension. The gods of order were divided, and the forces of chaos exploited every crack. Chaos erupted across the realms like wildfire. Massive gates to the realm of chaos, the Realmgates, burst open. Demonic legions surged forth, each aligned with their god's twisted vision. In Ekshi, the skies bled fire as Khorne's warriors razed cities in endless slaughter. In Gairan, Nurgle's plagues turned jungles into diseased swamps, corrupting even the soul of the land. In Shaman, Tzeentch twisted reality itself, making truth and lie indistinguishable. In Ulgu and Hysh, illusions and despair snared entire civilizations. The gods of order failed to stand together, and without unity, the realms fell. Thus began the Age of Chaos. Centuries of destruction, pain, and fear. The forces of chaos did not merely conquer, they reshaped. Entire continents were transformed into hellish landscapes. Cities became fortresses of madness or were consumed altogether. In Ekshi, the once great empire of Asperia was shattered by Khorne's bloodbound. The Great Parch became a place of ceaseless war, where blood flowed like rivers. In Gairan, Alarielle retreated to hidden soul pods as her forests died, and her children, the Sylvaneth, were hunted to near extinction. In Shaman, scientific wonders were twisted by Tzeentch's sorcery. Logic was warped, truth was mutable. Across the realms, mortals were enslaved or forced to worship dark gods to survive. Demonic overlords ruled vast kingdoms. Slaughter priests and chaos sorcerers waged war in their names. Sigmar, betrayed and broken, withdrew to the realm of Azir. He closed its realm gates, severing all ties to the other realms. It became a fortress. The rest of the realms were abandoned, or so it seemed. But Sigmar did not forget. The first strike fell upon Ekshi, the realm of fire. There, the Brimstone Peninsula boiled in the grip of Khorne's blood-crazed legions, ruled by the infamous Khorgos Khul and his Gortide. Khul was more than a warlord. He was a herald of Khorne's fury, known for building monuments of skulls and commanding entire armies of murderers. From his Skull Pyramid fortress, he ruled in the blood god's name. Sigmar's storm descended with fury. Lord Celestant Vandus Hammerhand, astride his Dracoth Kalanax, led the first Lightning-born assault. The objective: seize the Igneous Gate, a realm gate to Azir that had long been dormant. The peninsula was a volcanic hellscape, dominated by Khul's slaughter pyramid, lava chasms, and ash-choked skies. The storm-cast Eternals emerged amid fire, ash, and demonic screeches. They met Khul's blood reavers head-on. These frenzied berserkers, mad with bloodlust, hurled themselves at the storm hosts. Vandus's warriors fought with relentless zeal, bolstered by prosecutors swooping overhead and judicators firing lightning-charged bolts into chaos ranks. The stormcasts held nothing back. Hammers fell, lightning surged, corpses burned in the lava rivers. Even as stormcasts fell in battle, their souls erupted into blue-white energy, returning to Azir for reforging. Elsewhere on the peninsula, the anvils of the Heldenhammer fought off waves of Khornati reinforcements at the Obsidian Bridge, a structure of charred stone that spanned a river of magma. At the flanks, Lord Relictor Ionis Cryptborn led a campaign to destroy the Eight Towers, demonic outposts that poured sorcery and horror into the battlefield. Each one fell in turn, further weakening Chaos's grip and drawing Khul's attention away from the central conflict. In the heart of the chaos, Vandus met Khul in personal combat. The two champions clashed in a brutal duel, lightning versus blood, order versus rage. Vandus fought not just for victory, but vengeance. Khul had destroyed his tribe in the long-forgotten past. Amid the fury, Vandus was gravely wounded. Yet, calling on Sigmar's wrath, he struck Khul down with a divine lightning bolt. Rather than pursue the kill, Vandus turned to the greater purpose, reclaiming the Realm Gate. As his warriors secured the field, the Lord Relictors intoned sacred rites, and lightning answered. The Igneous Gate burst open, connecting Ekshi once more to Azir. Reinforcements flooded through, establishing a beachhead for order. Though Khul escaped, bleeding and enraged, Sigmar had claimed his first victory in the Realmgate Wars. Across Ekshi, enslaved tribes and terrified refugees saw celestial lightning on the horizon and dared to hope. To hold the peninsula, Sigmar needed allies, those native to Ekshi, who knew the realm's fiery geography. He turned to the Duarden Fireslayers, mercenaries forged in magma and obsessed with gold, the divine remnants of Grimnir, their god. Grim, stoic, and zealously devoted, the Fireslayers viewed battle as both duty and devotion. A pact was struck. Sigmar offered vaults of sacred gold in exchange for their loyalty. Fireslayer Magmadroth riders joined with Stormcast Chambers in a daring attack on Bloodkeep, a towering chaos fortress guarding the brass chain of Khorne. This chain had once shackled Skarbrand, Khorne's most wrathful demon. The assault began with coordinated fire and fury. Fireslayers tunneled beneath the fortress and erupted before its brass gates, while Stormcast prosecutors descended in flashes of light. Runesmiters chanted battle prayers, while Stormcast liberators formed phalanxes. The defenders, a mix of skull-crushers, slaughter priests, and blood-drenched cultists, met them with equal fervor. The valley around the Bloodkeep boiled with violence. Geysers of molten blood erupted from the scorched ground, staining the sky red. Stormcast ballistae thundered from distant ridges, while Fireslayer berserkers cleaved into waves of demonic foes. But before they could seize the chain, disaster struck. Skarbrand was summoned. His rage was apocalyptic. Twin axes, slaughter and carnage, tore through friend and foe alike. The fortress shook. The halls ran red. Stormcast heroes and Fireslayer champions alike fell before his fury. Realizing the mission was lost, the allies retreated through magma tunnels, sealing them behind with magical detonations. The artifact was not taken, but a bond was formed. The Fireslayers, impressed by the Stormcast's valor, honored their pact. Blood had sealed their alliance. Far from Ekshi, another campaign stirred. In Shamon, the realm of metal, lay a prize beyond price. Gelmarez, Sigmar's legendary warhammer, lost since the Age of Chaos, hurled at Archaon and swallowed by illusion. Now it had resurfaced, held by Ifrix, a sorcerer lord of Tzeentch. It was hidden within a fortress of magic and lies, the Eldritch Fortress. Lord Celestant Thostos Bladestorm and his celestial vindicators led the expedition into the treacherous lands of Shamon. Here, everything shifted. Mountains shimmered with gold, rivers flowed with mercury, and the sky wept acid rain. Even the terrain seemed to betray them. They crossed the Silver Sea, aided by the god-beast Dracothion, who battled a molten serpent, allowing the Stormcast's safe passage. They marched through ruins, animated by ancient hexes, fought beasts made of glass and steel, and overcame ambushes of Zangor beastmen. At the Eldritch Fortress, Thostos and his warriors faced warpfire, illusions, and demonic monstrosities. A mutilith vortex beast twisted reality around it, transforming warriors into statues and monsters. Thostos himself was turned into living Sigmarite, but endured, fighting as a golden statue of fury. Inside the fortress, Ifrix sought to use Gelmarez to fuel a spell that would teleport the entire region into the realm of chaos. But the hammer resisted. Divine light erupted, the spell collapsed, and Ifrix was consumed by his own ambition. As the fortress crumbled, Vandus Hammerhand, newly reforged in Azir, stepped forth and claimed the hammer. With that act, the Celestant Prime descended from the heavens. Wielding Gelmarez, he embodied Sigmar's fury, a demigod reborn. The tide of war had turned. The hammer's return sent shockwaves across the cosmos. Even in the dark halls of the Ever-Chosen's fortress, there was a pause. With victories in Ekshi and Shamon, Sigmar's grand design unfolded. His strategy was twofold: secure realm gates, those ancient portals connecting realms, and rekindle alliances from the lost age of myth. Emissaries were sent to Alariel in the realm of life, to Nagash in death, to the stubborn Dwarden in their ancestral holds. Not all answered. Some gods remembered betrayal, others mourned what chaos had taken. Nagash brooded in silence, Alariel hid in sorrow. Even among potential allies, trust was hard won. Meanwhile, war raged on. At the Henge-Gate, a joint chaos force sought to claim another Realmgate. Stormcasts and mortal survivors defended it, but were outmatched. As a last resort, they lured Skarbrand into a trap of blood quartz crystals. The demon's rage grew until it exploded. He slaughtered all, stormcasts, mortals, and chaos alike. When the dust settled, no one remained. The gate was unclaimed, the land scoured clean. It was victory in name alone. The Realmgate Wars had only begun. In Ghyran, the realm of life, Alariel's plight would soon demand attention. In Shyish, Nagash's bitter grudge would become an opportunity or a threat. Across every realm, battles loomed. Sigmar's storm had broken the first chains of chaos. But the true Tempest, the war to determine the fate of all creation, was only beginning to gather its full apocalyptic strength. As new chambers of Stormcast were forged, and more gods watched from their hidden sanctuaries, the thunder of war echoed across eternity. The age of Sigmar was here, and it would be written in fire, steel, and the lightning of Azir. And so this tale continues. If the clash of realms and the echo of divine war stirs something in you, lend your strength to the cause. Like this chronicle, share it with your kin, and subscribe to bear witness to the battles yet to come. For in Part 2, the struggle spreads to Ghyran, where the very essence of life will become a weapon. The war is far from over.